One more person. What time are we living? Okay, I would like to define it as the most exciting time I've ever seen in this context. I don't know, if you can't feel it, then you must leave. That is my favorite tagline. This is the most exciting time for a young person. And all of us are young because until you die, your mind is consistently young. So forget about the relevant. It's what you make of it. I see Mama here, she's sitting. She's thinking about technology. Okay, and I see a 20-year-old sitting there. What is the difference? It's all in your mind. Your mind is how old you are. So Africa is on an upgrade. And the upgrade is happening in front of you. So look at the guy next to you and say, the upgrade is happening in front of me. You will tell this story. I am not kidding you. You will tell this story years to come about this upgrade. It excites me. Everywhere I go around Africa and I talk about this upgrade. Tanzania is in an upgrade. And the upgrade is driven by technology. And as I said, the solutions are there. Technology is just an enabler. So I'm talking about the future technology. What are future technologies? Machine learning, blockchain, IoT, great stuff. But the future really is in the mind of everybody here, the government, the private sector, the young people, the bankers, this guy standing here. The future is in the mind. And when we talk about blockchain, I just want to talk about two very simple things, just have time. What is blockchain and how does it affect social change, impact change? What is machine learning? When we first met, they had AI for Good in Geneva, and they'd been doing it to support Africa. And there was no Black person who'd ever spoken. So I spoke in front of 6,000 people telling them about AI in Africa. And they were like, wow, AI. Yes. Because why? We produce data nonstop. Nonstop. All blockchain is, when you think about blockchain, let's demystify it for a little bit. Think about a savings group. All of you in the savings group, right? Somebody's in the savings group. Vic Obers, I learned that word. Everybody's in the savings group somehow. And a bunch of people come together. And what do? They trust each other. And each person verifies the other person to say yes. And every time they do something, the transaction is verified by everybody else. And nobody decides that this is not right or wrong. So all it is just a bunch of technologies coming together and all of us verifying that information and then making it transparent and increasing the value and the speeds of those transactions. So either you are talking about agriculture, you're talking about land, you're talking about financial services. We are actually, there's a speech I watched once when he talked about, blockchain technology. When you look at the Nigerian ecosystem of apprentice work, it's actually, we do all these things regularly. It's just that now we're just adding a layer of technology around it, around the informal things that we've built, those informal trust protocols that we have built. We're just adding technology to it. So that way it doesn't become too difficult for people to understand. So it's not some alien foreign technology about, oh, blockchain. No, we're actually doing it. We're just moving this protocol. One computer verifies another, so that we say that nobody else can say, this is not true. That's all. So if somebody doesn't say, Abdi, that's not your land. No. All of us have said it's Abdi's land. So nobody can come and take it the next day. So when you have these systems, machine learning, here we'll talk about AI. The first thing you want to talk about before you talk about machine learning, you talk about the data that you actually collect. So in this place, what is happening? What is happening here? Anyone? We're creating data nonstop. That's all. We're creating data. I'm speaking, it's information, it's data. Hopefully somebody's able to collect it very well. And then train a small computer to say, hey, can you make sure this can be done better next time? Then you have machine learning. But it starts from the data collection first. One of the most important things that I learned growing up in Ireland, basically, was how governments and the private sector, and with some really super smart young people, where you have a lot of them here in Tanzania, come together to say, you know what? We will drive an innovative society underpinned by one very simple thing, the will. That's all it is. The will. We can talk from here to next year to the whatever happens. We can keep having these great conversations. If the will to change is not there, if the will to change from the government is not there, yes, we can write great policies. We can write research documents. We can form hubs. Okay, great. But if the will by one person is not there, it doesn't take a million people, just one guy. He says, okay, I am willing, like him, saying, I am willing to make sure that this change is going to happen. Just one. Somebody in the private sector, like him, say, I am willing to make sure my bank is going to make sure this change happens. And a bunch of young people who come together to support that. And then all the other enabling partners, all the UN bodies, UNCDF, UNDP. Okay, stop giving us donations. If you want us to adopt things, question us to build commercially viable solutions, not social enterprise solutions anymore. Because for how many years? 40 years now, we're still here. And we're about to turn into smart cities, and there's nothing smart about our cities. Change the way you think about how you even fund us. Fund the startups. And for the bank, don't ask him how much profit you've made on day one. Ask him, can your business scale? Is it scalable? And a small story, I was in Amsterdam, I was in The Hague, and having a conversation with some VC friends of mine. And this is a true story. And he says to me, John, I saw your presentation. That was when I first moved from Ireland. And he said, I saw your presentation, and it was very much about what you're going to do in Kenya. Like, yeah, 40 million people, XYZ. So yeah, I said, you Africans though. Like, what do you mean you Africans? He said, I'm gonna show you another presentation by another guy from the US who's coming to Africa. Like, show me the presentation. It's like 1.3 billion people, borderless Africa, I am going in there. Because you guys think like borders. It's like, I'm from Tanzania, I'm from Kenya, I'm from Nigeria, but this is a continent of 1.3 billion people. So for you to scale a business, you must even think regionally. How do I go from Tanzania to Kenya? How do I go from Tanzania to Uganda? So at the end of the day, you must come with value. Say, you know what, government, if we do this, this is how much more money you're gonna earn. At the end of the day, when you look at, and one of the things that drives anything is the ability to create capacity in a smart technology era is one of the biggest downfalls that we have in this continent. And I'll tell you the reason why I say so. We talk about machine learning, we talk about blockchain, we talk about IoT, all these things. Point to 50 AI engineers in Tanzania for me. 50, okay, no, that's too much. 30. The point is we don't invest in capacity development. And when I mean capacity development, I'm not about training. Training is a process, it's not an outcome. And stop with this training stuff, we're training people. It doesn't do anything. What is the outcome? We would like to create jobs, smart jobs. And when we do that, we can sit here and earn foreign direct investments, which means the economy scales. That means a young person, as Jumani showed, is earning $2,000. The ripple effect on the Mama Lisha changes her life completely. The ripple effect of training with a purpose, of saying, Afsa, we're gonna train 50 AI engineers, but we're gonna work on a project with you while we're training these people. So if you get to employ 20 of them, that means you can build new solutions and you don't have to outsource it. It stays here in Tanzania. Building the economy, an ecosystem, to build an ecosystem, you must understand every possible part of that ecosystem needs addressing. Smart technologies, the future technically is now where you're standing. We're talking about Africa getting to how many, 75 million people in one country. Well, if all of them do not understand urbanization of housing, and you can't build smart protocols around climate change from here, not waiting for the UN to build it, people will still be living in slums all over. But what we have that they don't have in Europe or in America is the opportunity of non-legacy. We don't have legacy. Same way the mobile phone came, same way M-Pesa came, same way mobile money came and transformed. We shouldn't stop at most mobile money. Again, going back to, we shouldn't just stop because we do. Now we should take that on. I have a ton of smart young people. If you look at, I call it HTML India. Back in the days, whoever remembered, if you wanted to build a website, what did you do? Any website, what did you do? You went to India, build the website, they ship it to you. But they were in India, but you didn't think, oh, these guys are in India. You just thought they could build the solution. They exported technology and the economy scaled. So if you don't build capacity here, but capacity driven within an ecosystem of an outcome, which means the bank, the funders, the government, the startups, the people, we all come together to say, when we're training these people, there is real value that's going to happen. Then when you talk about investment, we've been crying for African millionaires to participate, not just in buying real estate, to participate in investing in these startups. Don't wait till later, because the unicornization of African startups is happening. And one day you just sit there waiting, going like, well, I should have invested in it. Well, you can't buy me anymore, because as a startup, I can go from 0 to 5 years and I will buy everything else you own. It's the reality. But if you don't invest in that, the money still leaves and goes somewhere else. Those people who will invest in us. Those people who invest in us will take the money. Because if I am invested by European VCs, when the time comes, I will need to pay them back. That's the theory. It's as simple as that if you don't understand the investment well. And that's also part of innovation. How do we innovate the money? Money is just an asset value. It's not the end goal. Wealth creation for African young people is the end goal. Transforming a digital transformation of economies, which means the farmer in the village, as small companies are collecting the data, as a farmer agri is collecting the data from those small farmers in the village and providing financing for them. What is the external value that we can build on top of that? Those are the things that would drive. And the opportunity of this exciting time is a lot of our young people are thinking consistently outside the box, because we have so many interesting problems to solve. So that's one. But the other part of innovation is deep tech, R&D. You know, I always say, if you don't build IPs, again, mobile money was an IP that came from Africa, because so many people around the world still don't understand how that works. So when you do projects and you get a development team somewhere in the US and ask them to do USSD stuff, they'll look at you and go like, what are you talking about? We can. It's an IP that we own. We just haven't learned how to commercialize that IP so well. So imagine R&D, where we don't really invest money in research and development. When you invest money in research and development and you're able to build companies that create IPs that we can sell to the rest of the world, that is when we start talking about industrial transformation. And COVID has taught us a big lesson. We're complaining to the rest of the world. We don't have enough vaccine. Well, we have so many smart people. We have so many research centers. We have so many biotech centers. Did we ever invest in building or creating this type of solutions ourselves? These things happen. They're all around us. So for me, the fourth industrial revolution that we're talking about and the age of smart technology, there's no future. Sorry, Dramani. We must remove the word future. Now, reimagine now and teleport yourself into the future from now. Open that gateway. Go from the future into the now every single day. Don't wait. There's no future out there. The future is this minute that you live in. The future is a lot of young smart people, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, who are transforming. Why can't the young people in Tanzania be the same part of the transformation? What is going to drive economic change in this country is the young people. So until you accept that and bring them into the room to have those conversations, to be part of that conversation, to also lead the conversation, you must be willing to step back and let them lead the conversation. Because the VC will not give you money, you'll give it to a young person. So how do we create this? So for us, what we're doing at the Adanian lab, we're setting up our lab here. So we don't talk too much anymore. We will do what we're gonna do. We're a venture studio. We want to build 300 companies across Africa. So we're coming to Tanzania to build the first 10 startups that we will turn into unicorns, and we will fund them ourselves. And we'll take them to create jobs. We will train 500 AI engineers in this country. And we'll start by training 100 blockchain developers, and I can tell you how much they will earn here by sitting here in Tanzania, because we don't want them to leave. They don't need to go anywhere. They don't need to go to Europe. They need to stay here. Here. And those partnerships are what is going to drive the change. So for me, the bottom line of all this, let us build commercially viable, sustainable businesses. Let us use smart technology to leverage the infrastructure that we don't have, that we can rebuild. So let's stop worrying about infrastructure. Infrastructure. What is infrastructure? These are legacy things. The opportunity has allowed us, as we were discussing, to build new things. Somebody built something on day one. So why don't we build on day two where they stopped? Nothing stops us. Future technologies are here to stay. Future technologies are all around us. We're all doing these things. It's just how do we purpose it? And to end, intentionality. Intentional about everything you do. You don't leave it to chances. Maybe something will happen. Yeah, if we're having a meeting, let us be very intentional. It's like, you're a banker. When you have a meeting, you're intentional. This is what I want to get out of it. This, exactly, intentional. So that from day one, when we have these things, we assign ourselves a clear purpose of why and how smart technologies will change the way we adopt information across this continent. I'm really excited to be in Tanzania, and I'm going to be here for a very long time, and look forward to working with all of you. And thanks again, Jumani. Thank you.